on the snow day.
It's amazing how you guys, it's in you. You know, I hate when they say, I'm a woman, I'm not strong enough, I can't do something. No, you can. I remember a lady in Addison Place, she opened the door, her husband opened the door for somebody, and the guy, two criminals came in and started beating him, and the wife came with a pair of pants and started beating the criminals, you know, out of bravery and just sheer ferocity, yelling and screaming, and scared the criminals away, and they actually dropped a little taser thing. So, you know, I see that, you know, just because you're a female, you don't have to be weak.
But do you think it's a constraint on the progress of a society when there's no equality in a decision-making process?
Education is one of the best ways we have to teach our children these things, to broaden their experience, bring in more perspectives. And I think that education is heading in that direction, but we're not quite there yet. So it is the voices of advocates, the voices of parents, the voices of teachers and administrators to really force that change to the next level. But that is, you know, the place where our kids learn just about everything. And so we need to have input on that curriculum.
This is a small group of people who found a common concern, a common passion, who can learn together, support each other, love each other, and hold on to principles and values that hold them together. Those that are changing jobs, moving from state to state, may lose the glue they had that made them successful as a family. But we're not talking about what helps us to be successful as a family often. Schools don't teach that. Workplace doesn't teach that. Fewer percentages of the population are attending churches, and I've been a pastor 40 years while doing work as a therapist, and I know churches, by and large, do not do that. I believe it is part of the mission of the church to build families, but in this environment, only a few share that purpose. God bless them if they do. The rules I tell families that are struggling, and they don't have a religious core yet. They do not have a common set of principles yet to even raise their own children. They're fragmented by death, by movement, by abuse, by domestic violence, by chemical dependency. They need a new core. Whether they have a religious core that is healthy or they're looking for one. I ask them to go home and build self-respect with one another in the home. Unless mom and dad, or if it's a single parent, start with the rule. Everyone in this house respects one another. Rule 1. That's a value, it's not a belief. We all are devoted to following this rule. We treat each other with respect. The second rule is we are honest with one another. You teach that at home because you can keep children accountable and parents can keep each other accountable. Be honest with one another. The third is no violence. You don't hurt anybody, you don't hurt yourself, but you don't hurt anybody else in this family. In this family, we talk, we don't hit, and we don't steal. You learn to respect what you have, but you respect what belongs to others. Teach that in a home, and they won't go to Kroger and shoplift. Okay? So, and of course, I'm obligated to say, don't drink. Don't use drugs. Don't seek things to make you happy. Learn to find happiness by living a life that is genuine. So those are my rules.
encourage and say it's okay for young women to take predominantly the male roles that have been happening throughout. So how does that happen, starting from young?
I think there's an aura of courage that you have to instill in young people. Once they have the basics on a working wardrobe, for example, this is how you dress to get a job. You will learn those job skills when you're on the job, or you've been trained for them in school. The same thing with parenthood and children. Your girls probably look after one another, and that is preparation for later on with how you've treated them, so that they see how they will in turn treat their children. The confidence level, the problem there is finding it when you don't have that functional situation, when you run into the dysfunction, how do you undo or overcome those obstacles? How do you get the word out? On Facebook, you mentioned Facebook, I was dying for that. There are people who send out a proper place setting to show people on Facebook, this is how you set a table with 25 pieces of silverware and 17 glasses or whatever. Just so that they see, you reach your audience and you start training them and preparing them. They say, oh, wait a minute, McDonald's uses a white plastic spoon and Burger uses, but they can see, and that is that beginning preparation to learn how to dress appropriately for an occasion so that you can go to church or wherever it is that you're going. And that basic skill set is what will carry them forward, I think, for any position they may attain in life.